Hey, all you little weirdos out there, what's going on? How have you been? I was gonna have a solo adventure today, but I think I'm gonna take some people with me on this ride.
Hell yeah!
This one's just too good not to share. Are you ready? Yep. Are you excited?
I am.
I'm pumped. Okay, here we go. So, John Montagu, who was the 4th Earl of Sandwich. We'll get into that later.
Of Sandwich?
Yes, Sandwich.
The 4th Earl of Sandwich.
If you didn't know, Sandwich is in southeast England, and it's like part of Kent.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Obviously.
Obviously. So, John Montagu, he was born on November 13th of 1718, and at only 4, Montagu's father unexpectedly passed away, and soon after, his mother remarried. When Montagu's grandfather, who was the 3rd Earl of Sandwich, passed away in 1729, John's life changed forever. So the 10-year-old boy...
Wait a minute. So there was other Earls of Sandwich?
Yes, there was a first, a second, and a third.
There
and
were
now
other
a full.
Earls of Sandwich.
Now a full.
Of the sandwich.
No, they're not the.
Of
Oh.
Sandwich.
Of Sandwich.
Of
Yeah, it's
Sandwich.
a place in Kent.
It's a place.
So the 10-year-old boy being the next in line, because remember, his dad passed away, so he never got the earldom, I think is what it is referred
that's
to
right.
as.
Yeah.
So it went to John, and he became England's newest earl at the age of 10.
Johnny, the Earl of
Johnny.
Sandwich.
Yep.
Earl
And
of sandwich.
Anyway, sorry.
Like any young noble, John embarked on a grand tour of Europe after college. This was very common of the time. I think it was mostly to find a wife, I'm
Right.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Montagu then traveled to Greece, Turkey, and Egypt, where he uncovered loads of new passions of his.
Wow, he's a traveling guy.
Yes. So by 1739, the young earl had returned home, and John quickly gained attention as a fiery speaker. Even his growing list of critics had to praise Montagu for his razor-sharp arguments. He was said to be very witty.
Like a witty guy.
He
Yeah.
was said to be very witty. You're going to hate him in a minute.
Oh, of course.
Montagu seemed to be more concentrated on women.
Of course.
And one in particular at this time. So Montagu had begun having an affair with a famous courtesan who was almost a decade younger than him. Now, a courtesan is basically a prostitute, but a courtesan is different in the fact that they're high society. They only go for noblemen and stuff like that. They are a prostitute, but in a higher...
In a rich sense.
Yes, basically.
They're like an escort.
Yeah, but for rich people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Montagu had begun having an affair with the famous courtesan who was almost a decade younger than him, like we had said, and her name was Fanny Murray.
Who did that
course.
to her?
Oh, God. So their relationship was passionate, public, and politically very fucking inconvenient.
Yeah.
Before she had become Sandwich's companion,
Sorry, sandwiches.
Oh my god.
Murray had clawed her way up from poverty. She was orphaned at the age of 12, and she sold flowers on the London streets, and soon she realized that she could make more money by selling her own flowers.
Oh, that's so
Ew.
sad.
Ew.
Disgusting. Montagu's obsession with Fannie Mae bordered on worship, so much so that he commissioned a massive portrait of her, and he proudly hung it in his apartments. Now, this portrait that Montagu had commissioned and that he was proudly displaying in his apartments was of Murray completely naked.
Naked.
She was naked.
And
She
it was giant.
It was giant. So John did eventually trade debauchery for domestic life. And on March 14th of 1741, he wed Dorothy Fane, and she was the daughter of a viscount. Think Bridgerton, people.
But he didn't marry Fanny.
No, because she was the courtesan. She was a prostitute.
So not for marriage.
Not for marriage. This was the daughter of a viscount that he married. Her name was Dorothy.
Okay.
Their union was meant to bring a certain amount of respectability to Montagu because he was
Of Sandwich.
of Sandwich.
Of sandwich.
Sorry.
Because he was obviously a playboy, basically.
Yeah,
at
and they
the
were
time.
like, you're not a very good guy, but
Yeah.
marry this lady and maybe you'll be a good guy again.
Yeah.
And your line needs to continue.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have hope
For
you.
some reason, even though
For
you're a
some
piece of shit.
Raisin. So just a year after tying the knot, the Montagus faced heartbreak. In December of 1742, Dorothy delivered their first son, only to lose him days later.
Oh.
News of the infant's passing spread quickly, and even Montagu's enemies expressed their deepest condolences for this. In 1744, the Montagu family fortunes did improve, and Dorothy did give birth to another son, who was also named John. And he would survive to adulthood.
Nice.
This younger Montagu would one day become the 5th Earl of Sandwich.
The 5th Earl of Sandwich.
Inheriting his father's title and fortune at the age of 48.
Hey, that's old, huh?
Yeah, it is for the time.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep. Even after securing his succession, John Montagu tried and failed to expand his family. And tragically, his other children with Dorothy, which was Edward, William Augustus, and Mary, all met early ends, which included illness, accident, or fate seemed to haunt the sandwich line.
Oh my God, the sandwich line.
The sandwich line.
Oh my God, the sandwich line.
With a depressing home life, Montagu focused on his work, which was the British Navy. Years of marital strain and lost children had taken their toll on Dorothy Montagu, and by May of 1767, doctors declared the Countess legally insane. It was an especially damaging blow for Montagu, who couldn't allow the shame to ruin his name.
Oh, what a fucking D-bag.
Yeah, he was a D-bag. Before his wife's tragic diagnosis, Montagu's marriage had already capsized. Like, before she was declared insane, they were already, like, on
They're
the
over.
outs. Yeah.
We're done.
We're
you
done.
Fucking a-hole.
Dick. So sometimes...
Sandwich.
Yeah,
Sandwich. That was so insane.
Sorry.
Sometime between 1754 and 1757, Montagu had separated from his wife, and the crown had granted Dorothy an apartment in Windsor Castle. And she lived there quietly with her sister Elizabeth. I believe she was a lady in waiting. I'm not sure about that. But if she had an apartment in Windsor, then she was definitely doing something for the crown.
Yeah.
Right.
In 1763, Montagu's scandalous personal life collided with his political ambitions in a dramatic fucking fashion.
Okay.
John Wilkes, who was like a radical, like...
John Wilkes Booth?
No.
Oh, no, somebody else.
Somebody else.
Sorry.
He was like a radical journalist and politician. He published an essay on women, which was like... So there was
Because
like...
he knows a lot about them, apparently.
Yeah. But it was like a parody to like another one that had been published on men.
Okay.
From some other author. I didn't really grab all of that, but it was like a parody. It was supposed to be funny. The filthy parody was Wilkes's ode to none other than Montagu's old flame, Fanny
Murray.
His
Naked painting.
naked bitch. So because of his former devotion to Fanny, John had leapt at the chance to defend her honor. But he may have also been seeing this as like an opportunity to attack Wilkes. There's a lot of backstory with that I don't get into here, but they be back and forth.
They don't like each other.
They do not
They
like each
hate
other,
each other.
and they be fighting.
They be dueling.
Which is why Wilkes called him out in the first place.
Yes. Well, he called out Fanny, which
out.
he knew would piss
would
off
piss
John.
Yeah.
So by 1763, Montagu had returned to the Admiralty for his second term. So he was an admiral for the British Navy. Mm-hmm. And he rebuilt the Royal Navy. Like, he was really fucking good at his job. Super good at his job. But his greatest new project wasn't a ship. It was a woman.
Oh, of course.
Imagine that.
So that same year, he met Martha Ray, and she was a singer who became his devoted long-term mistress and the love of his life. Montagu's new mistress was unlike any other woman that he had ever met before. She didn't have noble blood, nor was she a famed courtesan. So she was just some rando that he met, but she was undeniably special. So her beauty, intelligence, and voice set her apart. She sang like in operas, and she was very like well-spoken.
She was of the arts, if you will.
She was. John Montagu met Ray when she was only 17, and I did not catch how old he was, but it was old enough because he had had kids and whatever since then, or a child. And the two hit it off immediately. As Lady Sandwich's mental state
Good God.
continued to deteriorate. I'm sorry, but I love to say sandwich like
Lady
that.
Sandwich.
Ray moved in to live with Montagu, becoming his constant companion and emotional refuge. Like, you know, she was his everything. He would be like, woe is me.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm so rich and successful.
Right. I'm
Love
an
me.
Earl of Sandwich.
And you have nothing.
Right.
And I have
Nothing.
sandwich.
Oh, God. So for the next decade and a half, she played the part of Lady Sandwich in everything but her name. So Montagu adored Ray and spared no expense in proving it, even though he was still technically married to Dorothy.
Say, why did he marry her?
Because he was still technically married and divorce wasn't...
She's insane.
Divorce wasn't a thing back then. He openly paraded around town with Ray as though she was the real Lady Sandwich. And when she grew tired of playing pretend, he went ahead and bought her a cozy Westminster residence and gave her a generous amount of spending money. So she basically, for all intents and purposes, was his wife.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
paid her off.
Yeah, pretty
when
much.
She was like, I'm annoyed with this.
Yeah.
He's like, here, baby.
So maybe the reason that John loved Ray was that she gave him what Dorothy had not, and that was a big family.
Oh.
So over their long affair, Ray bore 9 children for Montagu.
Oh my God.
5 of which survived to adulthood. In 1779, Montagu made a fateful introduction, one that would cost him the love of his life.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
no.
What did he do?
We're going to talk about it.
Idiot.
So he brought a young army officer named James Hackman. So he introduced James Hackman into his and Ray's inner circle. And Hackman was charming and ambitious, and he frequently...
And young and hot.
Probably. And he frequently visited Montagu and Martha Ray.
Right.
Unbeknownst to Montagu, Hackman had fallen obsessively in love with Ray. He pursued her relentlessly, even beginning an affair of his own with her.
Oh no.
Hackman was so obsessed with Ray that he proposed to her several times. Each time, however, Ray rejected him, believing that he lacked the resources and connections to give her the lifestyle that Montagu had. Mm-hmm. And on April 7th of 1779, Ray was enjoying an evening out with friends.
Okay.
And as Ray left the opera house and approached her carriage, Hackman appeared out of the darkness. Without a word, he drew a shooting iron, which I have learned that in England is just a fucking handgun. It's
just a gun.
It's just a gun, but it's
a shooting
fancy,
iron, if you will.
It's a fancy way to say handgun. He leveled it at her head and he pulled the trigger.
He killed her? Because she wouldn't marry him?
Yes. So Ray she never saw it coming. Hackman turned the barrel towards himself, but only managed to graze his head before Ray's friends intervened and held him down until the authorities came.
This is like, he was like I'm going to be a Romeo and Juliet situation.
Yeah,
Pretty
no.
much.
What a loser.
For real. So at his trial, Hackman tearfully confessed that he hadn't planned to take Ray's life, claiming a momentary frenzy had overcome him. Regardless of Hackman's intentions, the damage to Montagu was done. I mean, she was gone. And Montagu had loved before, but he had never loved any woman the way that he loved Martha Ray. To him, she was more than just a mistress. So after Ray's untimely and brutal demise, the 4th Earl of Sandwich...
Earl of Sandwich.
was left a sloppy, soggy mess that he never truly recovered from. And his final years were very lonely. And on April 30th of 1792, he died. He drew his last breath. His estranged wife, Dorothy, outlived him by 5 years, and both were laid to rest at All Saints Church in Barnwell, Northamptonshire. So, for all his scandals, Montagu's legacy wasn't cultural or even political.
Right.
It was culinary.
Oh.
Sandwich?
Sandwich, you say?
Yeah, you don't say.
Everyone's favorite lunch food, the sandwich.
That's my fucking favorite, the sandwich.
Yeah.
Well, it gets its name from John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich. However, despite this honor, no one can actually agree on how Montagu came up with this food. Okay, so the most popular explanation for its origins states that he came up with the idea at a gaming table. Montagu loved gambling so much that he couldn't tear himself away from his cards, so to keep himself going, he would order meat, and he would instruct that the meat be placed between 2 slices of bread to keep his hands clean.
Oh.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is what a sandwich is.
Basically.
Or where it came from.
Yep.
From gambling.
From gambling. Well,
love
so the
it.
alternate theory suggests that the sandwich was a product of Montagu's commitments to the Navy, to politics, and to the arts. Apparently, Montagu was too busy to take a proper meal, likely consuming the first sandwich at his work desk. But I don't believe that. I believe it was a gambling.
Well, either way, even if he did it while gambling or working, he probably did it both places.
Right.
He's
So
probably like, this is easy.
it's said that once he started doing this, so obviously he did it while gambling, because it is said the way that this caught on was he would order it, and then other people would see him do it, and then they would say, hey, I want what Sandwich is having.
Right.
And then it became from what sandwich is having to I'll take a sandwich because, the order is sandwich, whatever. So then it just became a sandwich.
Right. And then it evolved from there with like all the different.
Yes, toppings and
whatever.
all sorts of shit.
Did you know
that?
Oh my god, that's fucking crazy.
It's fucking nuts. You didn't know that, Carter. Shut up.
He didn't know that.
Carter's
So
like, yeah, I did.
the real reason we are even discussing John Montagu today is because of the sandwich.
Obviously.
I love a good sandwich.
Me too.
It's my most favorite thing, as a matter of fact. You can make anything into a sandwich.
Yes.
And bread. Who doesn't fucking love bread?
Everybody loves bread.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
loves
Don't come
bread.
at me if you don't love Brad.
I mean, he was probably like a creepy weirdo,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
got to admit that the sandwich is king.
It's
Yeah.
fucking legendary.
It is. So anyways, thank you for coming along with me on this weird and not what you were probably expecting adventure. So what's your favorite sandwich?
I like a ham sandwich. That's my favorite.
So mine is probably a good old ham sandwich with some Hellman's mayo. And that's it. Nothing else.
Oh, I like lettuce, tomato, onion.
I mean, yeah, I like all of that.
Olive oil,
but
salt, and
like,
pepper.
my go-to is just a ham sandwich with some Hellman's mayonnaise.
oh, I
That's
do like
it.
a PBJ.
Oh yeah, I do
Fuck
love
around with a PBJ.
I like the fucking Italian beef sandwich.
Oh my God, are we doing that?
Yeah, but we're just talking about a fucking sandwich.
Just a regular
Sandwich.
quick sandwich.
A sandwich.
I mean, I love a
sandwich.
PB and J, man.
Oh
Yeah,
me too.
PB and J is fucking
Crunchy or
legit.
creamy?
I'll
creamy.
go with. I do love a creamy, but sometimes
Crunchy peanut butter is weird.
I
it
used to
is.
really love it, but my teeth
Yeah.
aren't what they used to be, so now it's creamy.
Ew.
I don't ever buy crunchy, but I do like a crunchy peanut butter and jelly
Ew.
sometimes.
Well, my dad eats peanut butter and bologna sandwiches, and
Hell, he
that's
does.
fucking weird.
It's
Yeah, he
good
does. He
actually,
likes
though.
those.
They're good.
So, do you have a weird sandwich combo that you love? Write
Ooh.
us and tell me about it.
Tell us about it.
I put chips on like all my sandwiches.
Yeah, that's pretty
Or
good, too.
fries.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good too. Anyways, bitches, now's the time where I tell you, may your poison always be extra. I'm gonna go make myself a sandwich. Bye.
Bye.
Bitch, go make me a sandwich.
That was awesome.